What's up, guys? How you doing? I'm Paul.
I'm Morgan.
And today's YouTube video topic, Justin Bieber praying with Kanye and Marilyn Manson. It's got Christians split. So as much as we're going to be tackling this topic, just talking about it and giving our thoughts, we're also going to be bringing in what we've observed from Christians, but not just Christians, but more so like Christian influencers and the way they've tackled this, because it seems like there's two very distinct sides.
Very distinct. I've yet really to see someone come like in the middle. Is there middle ground to this? I don't even know.
We're gonna see if there is in today's video. We're excited to have you guys here on the live stream. Make sure, what was I gonna say? Yes, we will be getting to you guys, and I actually am really intrigued to hear your thoughts, especially once Morgan and I share ours, then to have some back and forth. And this is happening. I was talking to Morgan about this topic earlier, and it turns out we may see some things differently. So there could be a very healthy live debate taking place today.
Live debate between Paul and Morgan.
But as we get started with this topic, guys, guys, become a patron. We are on our way to 300. We just dropped our patron-only podcast.
Yep.
So after this, patrons go over and you can listen to that. But yeah, we are at like 230 something. When we get to 300, we're going live for 12 hours on YouTube. You guys are going to get to tell us what to do. Our patrons for that 12 hours. It's going to get crazy. Please consider joining. Helps a ton. All right. Morgan.
Yes.
Give them a little lowdown of what this is all about for those who may have seen this picture, but are like, I just don't really know. Give a quick rundown and let's get into this.
So what happened was Marilyn Manson, Justin Bieber, Kanye West, the three of them standing up on stage. There's a mic. Justin Bieber is praying his little heart out.
This is at Sunday service.
At a Sunday
on
service.
Halloween Day.
On Halloween Day.
I believe.
Sunday service meaning Kanye West, like, church thing, whatever that is. I don't really know.
It's like a church service that he's kind of the main dude behind it.
Yes.
To my knowledge.
Yes, or a concert or whatever. Performance, yeah. They're just up there praying away, and you might be confused because there have been some titles to YouTube videos that I don't appreciate. I'll just say it. That the title is like Justin Bieber, Kanye West, and praying over.
The titles have
Marilyn
been
Manson?
Justin Bieber praying for Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, and that was not the case. It was just, he was up there like praying for the service, praying over the service, praying for the people, but he wasn't like over there laying hands on Marilyn Manson praying over him. Because that made me think, when I first saw that title, I was like, wait, what? Like, did Marilyn Manson like give his life to the Lord? This is insane. Because
for those of you who don't know, Marilyn Manson has been a very vocal, I'm assuming in his words and his actions, really a Satanist. I haven't paid much attention to Marilyn Manson, but at least his brand is pretty satanic. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can comment if you know this for sure, but I'm pretty positive he has definitely come out saying like he's a Satanist, whether it was in the past or not. Like, that's been a thing of his. He's also been accused by several women of abuse in relationships. That it's pretty bad, the stuff that he is being accused of. Like, it's pretty terrible.
But guys, don't get us wrong. Like, God can take a creation that is
Saul to Paul, man. We believe in that.
To Paul, we believe in it. But there's going to be more we break down here. So You guys kind of are getting a picture. They're at the Sunday service. They're all wearing white. It's a little creepy, but hey, whatever. They're wearing white. They're up on stage, the three of them.
You can only see Marilyn Manson's eyes because he's got like this head covering on.
Yeah, and they are, and Justin Bieber is praying. I'm about to play a little bit of Justin Bieber's prayer, but really I would say the larger debate, if you want to call it that, going on, or the larger discussion is not so much Justin Bieber's prayer as it is the fact that you have Kanye West, Justin Bieber, and Marilyn Manson up on stage, and you have one side of the aisle which are very passionately saying this should be celebrated.
Mm-hmm. This is amazing. Look at the work God is doing.
Look how God is moving. And this side might say, we need to be given grace because Kanye is a baby Christian. So his life may not be perfect, but man, give grace. And it's so awesome that Marilyn Manson is up there getting potentially influenced by Christians. Then you have the other side, which says, guys, Christians, use discernment. He's living a lukewarm life at best. Just, cussing, Justin Bieber, cussing, smoking weed. Who knows what Marilyn Manson's got going on, but this isn't really something to be celebrated.
Right, let's take a chill pill and actually, I feel like some of that side is also just this is actually really bad. This is not good. This should not be celebrated. You should be very concerned. Which I just think is interesting, but yeah. And
I don't know if we're gonna name drop those of you who are very up on YouTube related things. You've probably seen some of the different sides, some of the different YouTubers taking these sides. I find it interesting. I don't think it's gossipy just to say and again, I may or may not say names, but I don't think it's gossipy to say this YouTuber has taken this position. This YouTuber's taking this position, because that's just the facts.
Yeah.
Anyone who follows YouTube and Christian creators can see that. Mm-hmm. But as of now, let's just move in to Justin Bieber's. Let's play a little bit of his.
Okay.
Just so you guys can get a kind of a feel for what was going on. Per usual, because Morgan and I...
we're going to do it the classic way.
We're going to do it the classic, just low-key way. Cover our faces. Put this in front of the camera. You guys will be able to hear it. Yeah. Here we go. Put it on pretty high volume. All right.
Thank you for your Holy Spirit that dwells in us. Thank you that you leave the 99 for the one. Thank you that you never leave us or forsake us. Thank you that we could never be more loved than we are right now in this moment. I come against any lies of the enemy, any fear. We bind it in the name of Jesus. Your name is above it all. The name of Jesus is above it all. We cast out any demonic activity that would try to steal our peace today or steal our joy. We welcome.
We're back!
Okay. All right. Hopefully that was pretty bright because they're all wearing white with a white sky backdrop.
What can you do,
But you guys get a pretty good gist of the type of prayer.
Yeah.
Can we at least agree on this, Morgan, before you just start ripping me to shreds and I start... No, but I'm just kidding. But before we potentially start disagreeing, maybe not, can we agree that prayer seemed genuine? And it was kind of cool to hear Justin Bieber praying against any demonic influences.
Yeah, no, I think it was a great prayer.
Those of you in
I'm not going to judge anyone's prayer. That's goofy.
Those of you in the live chat right now,
unless they're praying to Satan,
which we'll get to in a little bit, let us know in the comments. Justin Bieber's prayer sounded pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He acknowledged Jesus Christ. He prayed against demonic influences.
It's a good prayer.
Okay.
All right.
Now let's move into a little more here. Okay. All right. Morgan, start us off.
Okay. What?
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 Oh, I took some notes. I took some notes so I can get to some notes if you want. So we already kind of presented the two sides, so to speak. Yes.
Yes.
We presented the two sides, and I guess that's one of the reasons we're even inclined to make this video is because I'm watching, I'll just say it, Marcus Rogers. I'm listening to him say, those with spiritual discernment who have been born of the Spirit should be able to see what's going on here and say,
this is not good.
That Justin Bieber has been living a compromised life. And you guys can go watch Marcus Rogers' videos to get exactly his words, but paraphrasing, Kanye West has been getting, it did very much look like God did something to his heart, very real, but he's been compromising by getting around bad influences and he's been living a compromised life. Who knows what's going on with Marilyn Manson? Those believers with discernment. And he even said, like, you know, these people that are celebrating this lack discernment, and they disagree with me on so many things, and they just lack discernment.
Yeah.
So let's maybe focus on that position.
Yeah, I you know, that's to say that every single person that is, well, I don't know, talk about the spirit-filled, the meaning, I'm assuming he means like they speak in tongues and stuff like that.
He, in one of his videos, referred to that I think he was saying, I don't think that Justin Bieber has been spirit-filled. Yeah, he refers to speaking in tongues, born again in the spirit. He used gummy bear Christians. His words, gummy bear Christians, just referring to a deeper move of the spirit would have convicted Justin Bieber, Kanye West, and maybe even the people that are really in support of this to some extent.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think we have to be careful with saying, like, okay, I personally
Give it to us.
Don't feel great about this. I'll be honest. I don't feel great about the Kanye West, Justin Bieber, Marilyn Manson trio. It concerns me for a lot of reasons, but you know, I think about the Saul to Paul transformation, and even just specifically talking about Kanye West, like, you know, pretty quickly Kanye jumped into putting out Christian music, to performing these Sunday services, to like having a church, and I think about Paul, and it's like he took years to study the word, to like study the history of God and the Lord, and like get to know the Father.
Does the Bible say he took years?
Yeah, in Acts, if you read.
I know that he took some time away to really study. I don't know the time frame.
I remember doing some commentary on that, and from what I think that I can remember, I gathered was that it was several years, like, before he really went out and
into
started
a spotlight, a public.
leading. Yeah.
You guys can do your research on that.
Yeah, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But so I just think about that, and I think about Kanye West, and it's like he had this radical encounter with the Lord. I believe that he did. But it seems like pretty quickly, like Paul said, he has compromised.
Yeah, on that note, he seemed like when he had that encounter with the Lord, if you looked right before he made the Jesus is King album, he asked he asked the people on the album, hey man, when we're in here recording, don't be cussing, don't be bringing the filthy language in here.
Abstain from having sex while you're working on this.
With your someone who's not your husband or wife.
Right.
Yeah. So and now it does seem like, I mean I just watched a video by Kanye on a popular podcast yesterday, and unfortunately it's like, he's cursing again. So what?
Talking about how brilliant he is.
And so it's like, so what kind of happened? And I would maybe say maybe that's just, unfortunately, he's not made it a big enough priority to remove himself from, or just as a young Christian, perhaps should, like Morgan's saying, to make sure he's around solid influences. But it seems like maybe rubbing shoulders and staying in this incredibly secular, perverse environment is just, even if it was a very real experience a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, this stuff is just as bad company corrupts good morals.
Yep, it's true. Yeah, so also, I just remember when I first saw the picture pop up of the three of them on stage, I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. And so I looked into it to see, because of the title that I saw, it seemed like they were praying over him. And I was like, oh my goodness, did he like give his life to the Lord? And it just, from watching the video and stuff, I was like, oh, okay, that's not what's happening. But for some reason, they just felt like the right thing to do was have Marilyn Manson stand beside us and pray. And we'll have to look through the comments to see if any of you guys corrected this or not, or confirmed it. But in my mind, thinking about Marilyn Manson being an outspoken Satanist, yeah, it's like, okay, so he's up there on stage. Who is he praying to? God or the devil? Like, what is he saying in his mind? What is he thinking in his mind as he's standing up there? And by all means, invite Marilyn Manson to your church service, please, and have him be there and pray that he experiences the radical love of the Father. But
Because that's one of the things that the other side is saying is like, those of us who are quickly judging Kanye West, judging Marilyn Manson, you know, maybe they're sharing their own testimonies of when I was first thinking about coming to the Lord, I didn't feel accepted in the church because I looked different, or maybe my past. And so that's one of their positions of that side.
yeah.
And you are saying, by all means,
saying-
don't treat Marilyn, even though we don't really know where he's at,
Right.
don't treat him as this, you know, like invite him into the church because he needs to be there.
Right.
If he truly desires to be there.
And pour into him and love him, but to invite him up to stand with you while you pray over the congregation, that just seems inappropriate. It seems immature. It seems weird. Like, why? What was your purpose in bringing Marilyn Manson up there to pray with you? Was it because you knew it was going to get eyes on you? Was it because you knew people were going to be talking about this? Like, what was the motive behind that? I just am very curious as to why they thought that was a good idea. I just don't know. Again, if they brought him up there to pray over him and be like, we're going to lay hands on you and pray over you and get those demons out of you. Like,
well, so some would say if you listen to Justin Bieber's prayer, perhaps him praying against any demonic activity or influence or presence, that was kind of addressing perhaps that could have been there with Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
You're not... That's not phasing you?
No.
Okay. That's really interesting. So you are just really wanting to be careful, and I appreciate this about you because I think it is important. You know, you look at passages that say, Bible passages, not many of you should presume to be teachers, my brothers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly.
Yeah, why are we bringing Marilyn Manson up on stage, giving him a platform, acting like he is a teacher in the...
I wouldn't say that anyone's acting like he's a teacher, but they are kind of elevating him to a little bit of a spotlight in a Christian setting.
Yeah.
And you're saying that's just rubbing you the wrong way.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of... I think I said this the last time we had a conversation about something crazy that happened in the celebrity world, someone mentioning God or something. I'm kind of tired of all of this, like...
You grow weary. We
fake, this celebration over this stuff that we just, like, don't actually know or see. Like, to be celebrating that Marilyn Manson is standing up on stage with Kanye West and Justin Bieber, like he actually has given his life over to the Father, and like, getting excited over Kanye, getting excited over Justin. It's like, at the beginning of both of them, like, coming out and making it clear they were following the Lord, got very excited and was like, praise God.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people getting excited about it is because it's a celebrity, it's someone they love, and they listen to their music, and blah, blah, blah. And so you just so badly want to see them walking with the Lord, and then they say that they are, and you're like, yes, and then literally 6, 7, 10 years go by, and you don't see any fruit from those celebrities, but they're still claiming to be Christians, so you're like, yeah, he's a Christian, I love him, blah, blah, blah.
Has there been any Christian that you can think of, or I'm sorry, any celebrity in say the last 5, 10 years that was super popular in the secular world, has an encounter with God, and then like has a radical transformation that we can say so clearly that, like a Saul to Paul. Paul obviously had this radical transformation. He didn't have this encounter with God and then still stay living this questionable life. He was a sold out follower of Christ after that. Can you think of anybody that's like very clear?
I wish that I could, but no one is coming to my mind right now. If you guys can, comment below.
Comment in the comments, because I'm curious. Just again, like, we're all different. We all, you know, our journeys of coming out of the secular, or however we kind of grew up, whatever, like, conversion journeys, they're all different, but I'm just trying to maybe think of something to...
But here's the thing, like, I think about myself. I grew up in a Christian home, but I feel like you didn't start seeing the fruit in my life until as I got older, of just like the fruit of the Holy Spirit living within me. And then as I really just probably around 21 just really began to desire and recognize that, like, one, the Lord was calling me to a deeper, I don't know, revelation of him, and just what it looks like to walk in his freedom and as a daughter of his. And so, like, more and more, step by step, you continue to see fruit in my life, and it just became more and more clear of, like, I'm walking with the Lord. I'm pursuing him. I am seeking to live in righteousness and in his freedom. And I just think about Justin Bieber. It's been years since he has, like, come out proclaiming to be a believer.
And real quick, I'm seeing several people say the lead singer of Korn, who I have heard about that.
Yeah.
Kirk Cameron and his sister Candace.
Yeah.
Those are two that several people have mentioned.
Yeah. And they do a pretty good job, yeah. I don't, like, pay close attention to either of them, but yeah. Yeah, so I just think, like, Justin Bieber has had years and years to grow his faith, to step into that freedom and put off the things of this world, the sin. Like, he should be disgusted by this all. And to me, it just does not look like he has gotten to that point. And so until I feel like he's gotten to that point, I just am kind of like, man, Lord, do your thing. But, like...
So let me ask you this.
Why are we always getting so excited?
So let's pull back from maybe the using words like celebration. Like, this happens up on stage. Should we celebrate it, or should we... get excited? Would you still be okay to say, even though you have concerns with Justin Bieber's, the fruit of his life, I think that's fair to say, still cursing in songs, still talking about smoking, still being in songs that seem...
Are super raunchy.
Sensual. But could you be okay with saying God is still working on Justin Bieber's heart, and it's perhaps taking longer, but... there is still good fruit in the inner workings of his relationship with God that could be there?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hope that is the case.
I like how it's like an interview of me interviewing Morgan. You're allowed to ask me questions too.
Well, you're allowed to answer your questions too, babe.
Well, I will. I will.
Yes, I feel like that. I hope that is the case. I hope that, he figures it out and he just goes running full steam ahead at some point in his life. Same for Kanye. I'm not going to speak on Marilyn Manson. I have no idea where he's at his edge.
Well, let me say this. I was talking to an older Christian today about this topic, and they mentioned how early on in their faith walk, when they were just kind of getting interested in Christianity, they weren't there yet, but they started getting around some Christians, and it really blessed them. It blessed this person that the Christians were treating them as one of them, like really took her in and welcomed her. And that, she said, that was a blessing to her in growing her even closer to a genuine walk with the Lord. Yeah. Could that be happening with Manson? You're okay with saying...
Right, again, yeah, absolutely. Bring him into your life. Treat him just like any other human being or any brother or sister. But, like, there's just no reason to bring him up on stage in front of everyone, stand at the mic, and pray with us. Like,
yeah, and I like asking you these questions because it does allow you to elaborate. And we share some of the same opinions, like a lot of the same opinions. But I think Morgan is a little harder. She in her conviction feels more inclined to say, this is where I'm at. And I may not be quite where she's at, but I'm not too far off. But I think it is helpful for me to bring this stuff up so you can clarify, no, we're not saying to run the other way from Marilyn Manson and don't allow him in your church and make him feel awful. And we're not saying that.
Said that many a times, yeah.
But it does. So here's a question I have for those who come down really hard on the other side of grace, and this is a cause for celebration. Get off Kanye's back. We need to be cheering him on. get off Bieber's back and Manson's back. Let's leave Manson out of it for a moment because we don't know where he's at in his faith. But Justin and Kanye, you heard Morgan bringing up, they should be bearing better fruit, and they're still. Specifically Bieber, because I feel like we've seen more of Bieber. Kanye, yeah, he's got some stuff. Those who are saying they're on a journey, they're still young Christians, grace. What would they have to do? And I was thinking about this. Ask this to you guys in the comment section, those in the live chat. What would a Christian, someone who says they're a Christian, have to do before we treat them like the Apostle Paul says in one of his letters, those who are claiming to be a believer but are walking in this sin, do not even eat with such a person? There's my question. Paul literally said, do not even eat with such a person claiming to be a brother or sister in Christ, but is living in this sin. And I was thinking about that. And I'll be honest, this is getting a little savage. I was thinking about the Hailey Bieber interview with Yvonne Orji that we covered a while back. The stuff she was saying, she was giving a thumbs up to having sex before marriage. It was so blatant that I would say, oh, Hailey, if we substituted Hailey for Justin, I'd be like, she is not, I can't feel good about this. Justin, I feel like his issues, and I get like, I want to see him walking in more righteousness and more holiness. He's been saying he's a believer, not a believer, but a believer for years, at least 4 years, longer.
Way longer than that.
I don't know, but for a while, I want to see holiness out of him, but nevertheless, I haven't seen, I guess I would be a little slower to cast a hard judgment on him and say he's the type of person Paul is referring to. Don't even eat with such a person. Talking about smoking weed, yeah, I don't like that, but it's a little bit more of a gray area. Singing about smoking weed, throwing cuss words here and there. Yeah, Paul says, let no unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but still a little, you see what I'm saying? There's a little more gray area than if Justin Bieber was engaging in sex outside of marriage, if he was engaging with homosexual activity, if he was engaging with just these different ones that are just very clear. Well, so that's kind of where I'm at with Justin Bieber, and I would probably say that carries over to Kanye as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just reading in Matthew, I think it's Matthew 23, 24, and it was just really good, and it was Jesus just saying, like, he was specifically talking to his disciples and talking about the end times and just saying, like, there are going to be multiple, like, thousands, like, many people who use my name to lead people astray, who are going to confuse and going to, lead people away from me and my truth. And you have to be on guard. You have to be ready.
They have a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof.
Yeah.
A form of godliness that people look at and they're like, oh, this person
that was a great prayer.
Is godly?
Yeah.
Form of godliness?
I hear people say, you need to get out of your box of religion, or you're all boxed in because of all your rules and blah, blah, blah. I get that, and, like, that's not where I want to be, but I want to be wherever the Bible leads me to be, and I want to trust what Jesus said to his disciples, his people, and I want to be on guard. I want to be aware, and I think in Thessalonians, Paul says, you need to test the scriptures that have been given to these people, saying, like, don't just believe what people say. You need to go back to the scriptures and test it. And I think that that's good as well. Like, it's not judgment. It's not like, oh, you're not good enough to be a Christian. It's, hey, I'm protecting my spirit, my walk with the Father, my eternity, and I'm going to make sure that the people I'm listening to, the people that I'm cheering on as believers, are actually walking with the Father. And so, you know, I don't want to be this nitpicky person that's always like, no. But also, I'm not afraid to look a little crazy if it means that I'm protecting my spirit, Paul, us, our future children, like, and encouraging you guys and protecting you all, like, from falling into this trap of believing someone is a solid believer walking with the Father when in reality they're leading you astray, leading you down a path. And not saying that Kanye and Justin Bieber are leading you down the wrong path, but
yeah,
just saying.
So let me ask you this one more thing, Morgan, and then we will open it up to them. And each time I ask you a question, it's me kind of presenting another side that I am considering, and then I like to give my thoughts on it as well. So someone left what?
Ashley said, Morgan, become a pastor because you are preaching.
Okay, hey, scriptural, is that Morgan being a female pastor?
Oh my goodness. Women are allowed to preach, they're just not allowed to teach.
All right, Morgan, let's have you respond to this. I saw this on Instagram today.
Ask away. Ask the Morgan column. This is the Morgan column.
Don't you get cocky on us. I saw someone post this on Instagram today.
Okay.
This is talking about Kanye West. And I believe it's specifically kind of referring to him being on the podcast that some people are criticizing from yesterday because of his just the way he conducted himself there.
Okay.
Imagine having the largest entertainment corporation in the world banking on your marriage, hoping you get divorced so that you can make them more money. Imagine having the entire internet commenting on your mental health every time you get a haircut. Imagine having the entire church scrutinizing your theology less than a year after committing your life to God, which I don't think it's been less than a year because Jesus is king.
It's definitely been more than, it's been like 2 years now.
But nevertheless, it's kind of unimaginable. Yet this is his reality. A lot of theologically false stuff was said in this podcast, and a lot of crazy stuff was talked about. But a couple things are for sure. Kanye wants his family together, and a year or ever 3 years into my faith walk with God, I didn't look much better than this. Can we simultaneously know that Kanye is a secular success but a baby Christian? Is it possible that we not treat him like some sort of religious church father and instead treat him with grace like we would any new believer? Maybe that's too much to ask.
Very interesting, and I would say absolutely let's do that, but he's holding church services. He's literally leading.
He is kind of putting himself
a church service.
And I'm not going to say like Kanye is a teacher.
Right.
But he is kind of putting himself in a place.
In that position.
Does he talk much in his Sunday services?
I mean, I've heard him go off on talks in videos and whatnot.
So
of
it
his
is,
services.
you're kind of allowing yourself to be put in this place of a teacher. James says teachers are going to be judged more strictly. And there's a lot of people, which is cool, that might see a Kanye and be like, I'm going to go to his church service, that wouldn't have gone to a normal church. Mm-hmm. That's kind of cool. But nevertheless, you put yourself up as a teacher, so to speak. You are inviting more challenge to what you're saying.
Yeah.
More biblical examination.
Yeah, and I will not deny he's got it rough. Him and Justin Bieber and Marilyn Manson. But they've got it rough if they are going to truly like deny their flesh and pick up their cross and walk with Jesus daily. Like, they have it harder than so many people out there because of the world that they are living in, that they're surrounded by. The sin everywhere, the temptation everywhere, the money that they have. They can literally have anything they want. And so, yeah, they have it harder. But, man, does that mean that God cannot radically change their hearts and save them from that? No, absolutely not. But they have to want that.
Can I get the last word on this?
Go ahead.
I think there needs to be a caveat where, yes, we see Kanye West getting crazy on this podcast, dropping F-bombs and talking about himself a lot and whatnot. He's kind of a wild guy. Always has been. nevertheless, there was some good stuff that was said on this podcast. Justin Bieber, I wish he wasn't in these certain songs and saying whatever, but could that be because we don't know them personally, we're not close to them? Yes, Justin Bieber walked past my hair school in LA when I was there, and I should have gone out, and I didn't say anything. I stayed in school in the classroom, but no. Is it fair to say that in their personal lives, Justin Bieber could be cultivating a walk with the Lord and sharing that with people that are close to him, even though the Hailey Bieber situation's kind of Could it be that Kanye, if you actually spend a while with him, it's like, whoa, yes, he's got these things I'm not a big fan of, but he is bearing some good fruit. Praise the Lord. I would say we need to give some grace for that. Process is lasting longer than we would like. We would hope. They're in an incredibly secular environment. We wish they'd remove themselves from a little bit. Not to say they have to leave the music industry or whatever, but, rather gain the whole world than lose
my soul.
I would rather.
I don't want to
gain the whole world and lose my soul. So they're going to have to figure that out. But could there be good fruit if we were to spend more time with them? We would see. I want to say that's a potential. You can push back on that if you want. That's kind of where I'm at. But I agree with most of what you've said today.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that question.
You can't even give me that. You can't even give me that.
I think you could be onto something. I think you could.
Don't you give me your pity pats.
But
Paul making some good points, Ashley says.
Yeah, you are. You're a smart guy, and I love you. Okay, but so dramatic. But yeah, I don't know, because I think that I think about us.
Okay.
Our private lives and our public lives. They're really stinking similar. There's not much that, of course, Paul and I get into an argument sometimes, and I respond in a way that if it had been on camera, I probably would have been super embarrassed about. But, all in all, I feel very confident that our friends who will watch a video of ours or see a post of ours will be like, yes, that lines up with their life. I don't think you really see that from Kanye or Justin Bieber. What you see publicly is pretty worldly, very worldly. And
all right.
So I'm just okay, so in their personal lives, all of a sudden they're these holy, spiritual, fire beings.
I'm not saying it would blow us away,
right.
But we might be like, oh, there actually is more substance there.
I guess if I saw that substance, I would be like, guys, why aren't you pushing this out more? Why don't other people see this, you don't hide the light under a bushel. Won't let's say and
right.
blow it
guys,
out, no.
If it's
won't hide it under a bushel, no. I'm gonna let it shine.
If your heart is so moved, pray for these people.
Absolutely.
Pray for the lost. Pray that God would send workers into their vineyards and that they would get some accountability. So I am curious now to hear, you've heard kind of Morgan and I. You have heard us explain the side over here, which is...
We got lots of comments.
Which is, I'm very concerned, and the side over here, which is, I'm very for this. We want to hear where you guys have landed. Give this video a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this conversation, help us out. Now let's get to some comments.